Stop bubbling hard, hard. You're bubbling hard. No, that found you. Problem is a problem.
WEFM, the new fresh sound.
WhatsApp us or call us at 457-9997. Activated Mornings on WEFM 99.9 is on now.
On the flow in the building.
All righty, so timer and SVG, it is 7:46, and it is time for us to get our commentary from Lyf Compton. Lyf Compton, good morning.
Morning, Maka, Roleza. I understand that Nicole is back. Good morning, welcome back.
Hey, Lyf, how is life? Good morning.
Good.
Good.
Yeah, come back. Morning, listeners. I hope everybody had a great weekend. Now, well, this morning I wanna tie in multiple things to one another, right? Over the weekend, someone sent me a video of on Friday, I saw a video of the shooting that took place in Stony Grounds when Enrique, John, and the other guy lost his life. Baga guy lost his life, right? I saw a video where the car pulled up. It kind of backed into the Caribbean Imaging Center place there. 3 guys got out, normal, and then they went into the building at a side entrance, and then you heard all the gunshots echoing, right? And then somebody released another video of what happened inside. And to be honest, right, that is really brutal. These guys are fearless. They are, by their own, they are fearless. They seem to be well into the lifestyle they chose. They are skilled in what they're doing. I don't know. There are people that are born for certain things, right? And these guys will be fit to be these guys are fit to be in the military. They will make really good soldiers. They are very deadly. Right? And to see, you see it on TV all the time with people getting killed and things, but it's not the same. Actually seeing something unfold like that and knowing it's real and somebody actually lost their life is very worrying, traumatizing. Enrique John was chased, he was chased by one of the gunmen. There were 3 gunmen and the other 2 ran after the other guy. But the gunman the killer that attacked John, he's just on a different level of violence. John was basically in the video trying to fight for his life, right? Because he came in close contact with the gunman. They were kind of struggling, but the gunman was using the gun to beat him in his head. He didn't back down, and at one point, John ran into an area and he ran behind him. Then he ran back out and they began struggling. John fell on the ground. He kept beating him with the gun on his head, with the gun. And then John ran back into an area and he ran behind him. At one point, it seems like if the shooter's gun jammed and something fell. I don't know if the gun fell or the clip fell out the gun or whatever, but he was really calm and like sorting back out the gun, pick up whatever fell, got it back in his hand, run around the corner, and then that was the end of the life of this youngster. And then he left, and then you see the other 2 guys coming from the other end where they had just probably killed the other guy. They come back out and then they got into the vehicle and the vehicle drove away. Now, watching this it is very troubling. It's very traumatizing. And I actually feel sorry for John. People will say that he probably was involved in certain things, accused of shooting people, accused of attempted murder, but to go out like that is really something to watch, though. And I hope there's something called shock therapy. I hope people, other persons who are involved in this lifestyle, look at this video and use it as a way to change. Because you always have to remember there's somebody more vicious than you. There's somebody, as we just say, badder. We know that's not a word, but any local thing, there's always somebody badder than you. You understand? And I I hope people who are involved in this lifestyle look at it and don't think that even the guys who did the act, I hope they look at it and come to the reality that, okay, yeah, we vicious, we wicked, we train, we skill, we could do this, we could do that, but it's always somebody better than you. You gotta be very, very careful. Police officers looking at this video, I don't know how they would feel about actually going out to confront guys like these. There are probably police officers who don't mind, who are fearless like that, and who won't mind confronting these guys and getting these guys off the streets, right? But other police officers who are not so inclined, I wonder how they feel looking at this video, knowing that they have people out there in our society that are capable and willing to do something like this. And it wasn't a short space of time where you pull up and something is done in a minute. This whole thing took probably close to 3 minutes. That's a lot of time, eh? Try running for 3 minutes and you can see how try running for 3 minutes and see how hard that is, right? And to look at it, right, it's just really, 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 really chilling, brutal. And I hope some people could look at this, although it's a very negative video. I hope some people could look at this and treat this as shock therapy and use it as a way to say, boy, listen, I don't want to get involved in this lifestyle. I mean, this lifestyle, I want to get out. Because as I said, there's always somebody better than you. And once you go down that road, there's other people who is going to want to better you and come for you.
Do you think it kind of, okay, let's start from what you said, that there are some persons who have already chosen this lifestyle. So do you think showing them seeing this video would have an impact on them? Or let's say those going to school, those in secondary school, should it be shown to them as a deterrent before they even get involved in that lifestyle?
The thing is, right? No, I don't think if they see it, they see it. But I don't think it should be shown to them. What I think should be shown to them in a closed setting, right, is the aftermath where the person is on the ground, dead. Because I also saw a photo of John on the ground dead, and it's really strange the position he ended up in. And when you listen, and this is another thing again, when you listen to this song that was made about the shooting, it said, part of the song said, basically, let me put it in so people could understand who don't really understand the dancehall language. Part of the song said that you died in public where everybody could see, looking like a comedy, looking like a clown. And when you watch the way that he ended up on the ground dead, it shows that this person who sang this song knew exactly what he was talking about, right? And then it also shows that the other guy too, he also died in the road, flat on his chest, spread out. And these are the problematic students could be taken into a room and shown these pictures and say, listen, this is how we're going to end up. Not the actual video with the assault, because some of them might take away something different from that, right? You can't tell what somebody's going to take away from a video like that. Because some people in their mind were saying, boy, listen, I want to be like that gunman. I want to be wicked like that. The aftermath of is what should be shown to them as a short of shock therapy. There, back in the days, newspapers used to use it when the crime rate was getting out of hand. They would post a picture on the front page, big and bold, of a guy spread out on the ground, dead, with all the blood or whatever. These things are normally frowned upon these days because the population has gotten so sensitive, you can't really do these things anymore. People get too sensitive about it. But I think that students who are problematic, they should be taken into a room and shown the aftermath of this lifestyle, not the video itself.
Okay.
Because as I said, you don't know what people are gonna take away from the video, right? Go ahead.
Can I just interject here? You know, I hear what you're saying about that, but I think you said people are sensitive, but I think people have also become desensitized. And like where we are, some of those children see those images because of where they live or how their proximity to the scene of the incident. So I mean, sometimes yes, that shock therapy works and it has worked in the past, but for the way the world is going and the way societies are changing, it seems sometimes, and I'm not saying we beat a dead horse, but it's also sometimes literally not applicable. I mean, I was wondering recently, how do people have a certain ilk view life? Because it seems that life really literally just has limits in terms of this is how it's going to go, so let me just go through and score. But I hear what you're saying about the shock therapy, but my question is always, who will it affect more? Is it the person who is showing it and trying to, say this is how it's going to end up? Or is it the person who's seen it and saying, but I see that already, I see that a 1,000 times?
And see it live, you mean see live for themselves?
Live.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Life,
Well,
life. Do you believe that some of these guys are being paid to do some of these things?
yeah, obviously. Yeah, they're being paid, yeah. That guy who went after John, he wanted him dead. He didn't give up until he knew he was dead for sure. And it's either one out of two things. It's either a personal vendetta, personal beef, as we just say, or a paid hit. You're not gonna get paid unless you finish this mission. Because he really wanted him dead. He didn't give up. And he knew what he was doing in that whole situation. He didn't back down. You know what I mean? And someone said that John was shot in his back, already shot in his back when he was fighting with the gunman. So that's why he didn't really get much leeway, right? But I don't know. That's what somebody said. Somebody said he was already shot, but he gonna, as we just say, he gonna go with that guy. That guy was relentlessly just hitting him. Close contact. Some people would not know what to do in such a close contact situation, but he was just hitting him. And when he fell on the ground, he was just hitting him. You know what I mean? And it's just really hard to watch someone go out like that. You know what I mean? And then we see John's mother being charged for killing what some people are saying is her nephew, because is Shibu's cousin. We see her being charged along with another person who coincidentally has the same last name as the guy who died on Sunday. Parents Matthews died on Sunday, and Shibu's mother is charged in relation to that. And then the other guy charged with her as probably a co-conspirator, because they charged for conspiracy. His name is also Matthew. So this seems like a family thing, right? And we see them gone to prison and remand for conspiracy to murder, and they are saying that she is also charged for cocaine possession, and investigations are ongoing into this whatsoever. Now, time back into the whole let me just move away from that a little bit, right? Time back into the whole shock therapy thing. Last week, 2 15-year-old boys from the West St. George Secondary School were taken to court, charged for possession of an offensive weapon. They're 15, so the media was basically asked to leave the courtroom when they were inside. But what stood out to me is that the youngsters were involved in an altercation with one another, and both of them had knives, and they were arrested. Now, when I looked at them interacting, right, with one another, right, and it was hard for me to believe that they were charged for actually in an altercation with one another. Because, and then one the police officer said to me last night, when they were in custody, they were sharing food. So what is the reason now that you charge? Both of you have a knife. The mention of 6 and 7 was made. One of them 6, one of them 7. One of them later said that, oh, I'm not involved in any gang or whatever. The other one didn't really comment. But they were sharing food. They were charged for an offensive weapon in relation to trying to fight one another in school. They were eventually sharing food. They were in the court together. One gave one a comb to comb out the hair to look presentable or whatever. And they were interacting with one another. And then I overheard a discussion between them where they were concerned about getting expelled. And in the whole scenario, no parent was there. The person who was in court with them was a social worker. I looked at one of them shoes. His shoes was the mouth was lift off. I went to school with shoes like that too. You know what I mean? But it's not because my parents wasn't there, just because probably at the time they couldn't afford a proper shoe for me. But I looked at all of that, and I looked at them, and they were talking, and they were like, they were there together now. You know, and then certain lawyers in the court were saying, boy, they should not bring them here, they should not charge them, should not counsel them. They look like if they could be counseled. because they kind of like end up understanding the situation they were in. But the police officer was saying that people are calling us to do something, and when we do something like this, the law is against us because they're saying the 15, they should have bring them here. Maybe they should have counsel them, right? And the officer's idea was to give them a bit of shock therapy, put them through the system or whatever. But then you can't even tell how something is going to turn out in the long run. Maybe they say, well, then they were released on bail. They were released on bail. We call self-bail. Bail on your own recognizance. Bail on your own recognizance. Yeah, they were released on that. And maybe they say, oh, this was soft, whatever, we continue with lifestyle. But maybe they understand, but listen, we can't be getting involved in this, and we change because, as I said, they were concerned about being expelled. They were talking to one another, they were there with one another, they were sitting together or whatever. So at that point now, they come to a realization that, boy, listen, this is stupidness we would do it. Because I've seen other instances where youngsters are charged and then they're still in court and they've still vexed with one another. I saw it in a situation where a group of youngsters from Glen were charged with kidnapping. You remember that incident where the ladies were driving on the boardwalk and they were kidnapped and taken away in the vehicle? There was an incident a few years ago where some ladies were taken away by some youngsters, and I saw these guys being charged or whatever, and they were really aggressive in court. And when they came out of court and was on the police, they were cursing at the journalists or whatever. And if I could recall, shortly after that, one of them was killed. One of them was shot and killed. So you see, the whole court system didn't really work in like kind of like scaring those guys into scaring them straight, as we just say. It didn't work because all of them ended up seeing the name in the media for different things. And as I said, one of them was actually murdered, right? But yeah, that's where we at, I don't know what's going to be the outcome with these.
Yeah, with the boys in particular, I read the article, and I was actually, well, you brought up that part of them being questioning if they're going to be expelled. So this maybe gives me a little bit of indication that they actually value school and they understand the implications of what could happen if they are thrown out. But what it is, it also stood out to me, and I have to ask the question now. In the first instance, why did they feel it necessary to walk with a weapon to school, right? So that for me is the starting point. But it also shows that, let's say they got into something. Why was their first avenue as a form of resolution to draw those weapons? Because if they're cordial with each other afterwards and helping each other afterwards, it couldn't. But I don't look at it as necessarily being a serious beef that they had. But is it a case where they felt the need to, I don't know, the egos came into play, which is why, number one, they walk with the weapon, and why it is they pull the weapon. And number three, these children, between them, they have at least 4 parents. And I too was taken aback by the fact that absolutely no parent showed up for these children. So it also makes me have to question, what is the makeup of their family? And also, what is the involvement or the role of the parents? Now, I know some persons might be saying, well, the parents probably had to work or whatever the case might be. But to see that no actual relative showed up for them, and a social worker had to fit in or fill in that place, to me, that was also quite concerning.
Yeah, it was, right. And this is in contrast to something that I interviewed with a youngster from the police youth club. The police youth club, I think, is Stubbs. The police youth club that operates in the Stubbs area, headed by Yolanda from the mobilization. There was this youngster. He said that he joined the police youth club because he realized that he had a problem with anger. Because he said he get vexed easy. So he joined the police youth club, and it teach him a kind of discipline where he could learn to control his temper and thing. And he was telling me about the prevalence of the 6 and 7, how serious it is. And he says that he knows that there are people his age group, there are girls involved in the 6 and 7 thing, and how the police youth club helped him to do better and understand certain things, right? And well, he seemed to have some sort of guidance and some sort of self-awareness, but with a lack of self-awareness by some people, they need the guidance from adults. And it seems like if this is lacking with these 2 youngsters, because they only probably got the self-awareness from the situation they were in. I don't know if it's gonna stick, but they also need some sort of guidance now to stay on the right path and make them realize that we don't have that. And It's all ties into society and the community raising a child and where the intervention is going to come from, because most of the time they say coming from the teachers, right? It's not coming from the teachers. Some of the teachers couldn't care less about what happens, right?
Or
You know
some
what I mean?
teachers are also overwhelmed their life. That's also put that in there.
I don't care about the overwhelmed part. Some of them do okay. Some of them do okay. The overwhelmed part, whatever. Some of them do okay. Some of them can actually make a difference, don't care. I know there are classes, there are small classes where teachers could make a difference. Some of the classes them is 30 and thing, right? But I know there are small classes where some teachers could make a difference and they still don't care. You understand? If anybody want to give them a pass, they give them a pass. But like there are some teachers that just don't. There are some that care still. There are some that just don't care. There are some that can do better. There are some that are trying the best. There are some that overwhelmed. But let me put the overwhelmed part to the back of the line, right? You take a job. If it overwhelms you, ask for help. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you took a job to become an educator, not necessarily to become a disciplinarian, to be a parent, to be a counselor, to do all these other things. So this is why I'm part of being overwhelmed.
Being a teacher, all that.
Because
being a teacher, all of that.
If parents are not doing their part and they're going to place everything on the schools and the teachers, you can understand why teachers are going to become overwhelmed.
Being a teacher, all of that for coming to play, boy. You have to be all of that one.
No in our life, but you might back in old days, it might have been one or two problematic children in a classroom. Now we don't know how many these teachers have to deal with. I get what you're saying, and there are definitely some who just don't care. They just there to collect a salary. But if it's not a hand-in-hand approach where parents in the first instance are doing their part and leaving everything to the schools, you have to understand why teachers can become overwhelmed.
Yeah, I do. I understand it, but I just don't want to accept it. I don't want to get excused.
But going back to the part the court issue, why is it that the court don't request that these kids when they come into court they must be accompanied by a parent?
Sometimes magistrates in the past, judges in the past have sent for parents. That has been done in the past. I don't know what actually happens in the family court, because the family court is like in camera, they don't allow media in there, but maybe I think that happens a lot in the family court where they actually send for parents. I know there are incidents where parents have same like how the social worker had to go up in the dock and stand with them. I know there are incidents where parents have to go up in the dock and stand with the kids when they do things. I know there are incidents where parents are actually sent for, like where these kids' parents, I want to see them, summon them to court or whatever. Yeah. So yeah.
Let's stick a pin here, Lyf, because it's not like you're going on to something else, right?
Yeah. I was gonna. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So we're going to stick a pin here and be back with part 2 in a few minutes. This is Activated Mornings here on WEFM, and we are in the commentary segment with Lyf Compton. Time in SVG, it is 8:08, and our time check came to us with the compliments of New Haven Funeral Home.
Death is a fact of life. Even though death is a fact of life,